am live. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and I actually was planning to go to the beach. However, yeah, it was a whole thing. I decided to try a different like lake or something to go sit by because that grounds me. Sitting out by the water. Even like yesterday, I stuck my foot in the water, which was cold because I'm in the Pacific Northwest. But just going out in the water helps me to get grounded, and it helps me with clarity. So a lot of times when I feel like I need to think, or I feel like I'm overthinking, or I'm too much in my head, I go to the water, because that is the place for me that I can go and just relax. And so one of the things that I am doing actually right at this time is I was looking at what limiting beliefs that I needed to release, because so many times we don't even understand or know that we have these limiting beliefs. And a lot of times they come, disguised as what we grew up with, what our parents said, what our religion said, our church, our synagogue, wherever you went when you were a kid. Sometimes it's friends that have given you these limiting beliefs. And so what I decided to do was to sit down with myself. And so this is something that I have been meaning to do for a while. I do it occasionally. Okay, so typically I try to do it quarterly, just to sit down with myself and write down, some limiting beliefs that I need to release. And then I create ritual around them and release them. And the reason why I say that is because ritual can be anything that is a practice. And so a lot of people have demonized that word, but think about it. Going to church is a ritual. You go to church every Sunday or every Wednesday, every Tuesday, whatever days you go. In my case, growing up, sometimes it was every day. But you that's a ritual. It's just a thing that you do. It's a habit that you do. So I ask, I sit with spirit and I ask, what are some limiting beliefs that I need to release? And then I just be quiet many times, and then I sit there and I think about it. Because something I thought about was, and you can think about some of the things that you were told as a child, some of the things that your parents or your whoever, raised you, told you, your grandmother, whoever, because we're all raised by different people. If you're a foster child, you may have had a good foster parent. But money doesn't grow on trees. I wrote that down because it's got to go. It's got to go. Money doesn't grow on trees. And then the other one is, they used to tell us they wasn't made of money when we were kids. I'm not made of money. So what it does is it forces you to think about things through those lenses. And so the reason why we want to release these limiting beliefs is so that we can bring in new ones and get rid of these neural pathways that have been created by those limiting beliefs. Fuck this. So when we get ready to release these limiting beliefs, I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes it's really, really easy to let them go. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes they still pop back up. And that has been happening for me. Right? Some beliefs that I thought I released, like we always start using affirmations and saying affirmations, what affirmations feel good to you, what looks good to you, all of that kind of stuff. And so I always like to say, I'm wealthy. I say wealth is me as me. Abundance is me as me. And so these are things that I say to help me to get rid of those limiting beliefs, the ones that I think where, I think maybe, I'm destined not to have money, or I'm destined to struggle all the time, and these are limiting beliefs that came from just life. I had to write that one down. So if you find yourself in this space where you are dealing with these limiting beliefs, and the thing is anything can be a limiting belief if it limits you, or if you believe that it, because the thing is the limiting beliefs that you have may not be the same as the ones that I have. You know, typically we could all have, surrounding money, we have mostly a lot of the same, similar ones from what I can tell with the people that I have worked on that. But you know, but you can have all kinds of different limiting beliefs. You know, it depends on, you know, how you were raised and what kind of family situation you grew up on, whether it was a dysfunctional, narcissistic, or, you know, however it was. Still different beliefs and things that they told you, that they fed you, that we bought because we're kids, is what the deal is. And so as we dive into, you know, being better people and moving the needle for ourselves, especially for those of us that are in business, you know, we have many, many limiting beliefs. One of mine that I realized is that I believe that I couldn't have money without working a job. You know why I believe that? Because that's what they told us. That's what they told us. And that's not only what they told us, that's what they modeled to us. And so what I know is that that blocks the flow of money to you when you believe that that there's only one way to get money. You know, that blocks the way. And so typically when you are in that space and you're like, okay, well, I have to do such and such a thing in order to get some money, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's because you have these limiting beliefs that are kicking around in your brain, that every time you get ready to elevate or to rise, those limiting beliefs pop back up. And so what you want to do is you want to do what I'm doing right now. You want to write them down. I'm writing them down, and I will release it by burning them, because that is a symbolization for me of letting them go. And I do that with a lot of things, actually. I do that with a lot of things because it works for me. Plus, I love fire, I guess. I guess since I'm a water baby, my sun sign is in Scorpio and my moon is in Pisces, but my rising is in Leo. So, you know, the fire, I know how to bring the fire. That's what I say. So, I pulled some cards for us right now, just while I was talking about those limiting beliefs. And so one of them that came, which of course always gets next to my heart, is joy. 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 I don't know if y'all could see all the smiles and the beautiful on her face. And the other one that came was self-care and integration. And so with self-care and integration, that's actually what I'm talking about right now. We are at the space where we are, you know, up-leveling. We are releasing the negative limiting beliefs, because that's what we got to do. You know, because we just can't continue to live in this world without releasing all of the negativity and all the things that, you know, we hold sacred. Because some of those things, we hold them close because, you know, maybe grandma told us that. You know, you ain't gonna never be rich. You ain't gonna never have no money. You ain't gonna never be nobody. All kinds of stuff like that is what, you know, we have heard. And so don't mistake the fact that if you've heard this over and over and over, and many times you have heard this, don't mistake the fact that it is in you. A lot of times we're like, nah, I don't believe that, but then you do. And it shows by your actions and the things that you do. Because if you believe that whatever you want to achieve, that you can't fail, then it wouldn't stop you from doing anything. There would be nothing that you couldn't do. So you have to consider that, and you have to think about that. And so the last card that came for us was create and express. Create and express. And so when I feel into that, it typically means that in order to up-level your life, to become the person that you desire to become, the person that you see in your mind's eye is what I say, you want to find a way to get joy. And so for me, like I said earlier, I love the water. And so that is a way that I get joy. Okay. That's a way that I get joy. When I go to the water, it just does something for me, and it helps me feel so amazing. And it's just one of those times. It's a joyful time. And so you want to, give yourself that grace and give yourself that time to do whatever it is that you need to do in order to release these limiting beliefs. So because I have children all over outside, they're yelling and screaming, and I was actually trying to go to the beach or but my GPS took me on a wild goose chase. I was never able to even get into where the water was. I could see it. It's one of those things, it's like I could see it, but I couldn't find it. And so I just, ran by the store and grabbed what I need to grab so I can cook, and just came on home. And so I decided I wanted to record a video outside, and here I am. So apologies for the noise in the background, because I'm outside and I live in an apartment complex, and there are kids outside playing and running and screaming because that's what they do. And I don't have any other place to be right now, so here I am. But I'm just so super excited just to come on here and share with you just for a few minutes about releasing those limiting beliefs. And people they make this shit complicated and hard. I can say that because I've taken so many classes and courses and different, challenges and all kinds of things where I've learned a lot of things. But what I've learned is that many times they make this shit so way more complicated than it needs to be. They make it so that you feel like you have to pay somebody in order to help you to get rid of limiting beliefs. And you don't have to do that. You can get rid of those all on your own, because here's the thing. Nobody else knows what your limiting beliefs are but you. And they're not going to know unless you tell them. So you have to open that up. Now, intuitive people can pick up some stuff, but I mean, for the most part, if you want to really change your life and go deep into releasing limiting beliefs, you need to make a practice to sit down with yourself and sit down with your limiting beliefs. Sit down with it and actually examine it and see, where, number one, it comes from. Other than that, you can just write those things down and then light them up. Of course, in a proper place, outside, in a trash can, something like that. That's how you want to do that. But, but that's the thing to do. You want to write them down. You want to write them down, and then you want to release them. And you could also tear it if you have like a yard, which I don't have one, so I don't do that now. I used to have one, and I've done this. But if you have a yard, then you can also bury it. You can rip it up and bury it. You don't have to burn it. Or you could also rip it up and flush it down the toilet. Whatever works for you. I like to burn it because I like fire, and water fire girl. I guess it works. But I like to burn it, but you don't have to. There are so many different ways, and I want you to be free to do things in the way that feels good for you. Because if it doesn't feel good for you, you're not going to do it. And so these are practices you can do on I think it's the full moon that you can release. The full moon you release and receive. The new moon you receive. So the next full moon, try this. Or you could do it even without the full moon. Honestly, daily is a good thing. Even if you can identify, like today, what I'm doing is I'm writing down all these limiting beliefs that I have, which is not easy, y'all. It's hard because you don't want to feel limited. But you write down all these limiting beliefs, and ideally you would want to try to release them, not all at once, because that's usually very difficult and many times it doesn't work. So you want to release them, some at a time, or if you write them down and burn them, you can do that. But you can also, you know, go inside your body. You know, let's do it right now. Just take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then you want to take another deep breath. And then you want to take another deep breath. There you go. And so then you can sit with it, and you can actually take a few minutes and just write down some limiting beliefs that you have. You know, like I'm going to write down, I believed that I couldn't get the heck on, whatever you are flying, that I couldn't go make money without a job. How many of y'all believe that? Because that's a limiting belief that I have. And so I am releasing that, letting it go. And also, another thing I want to say too is you want to make sure that you are bringing joy back. You know, they got this song, I'm Bringing Sexy Back, Justin Timberlake and Timberland. I'm bringing sexy back. How about let's bring joy back? I like bringing sexy back because I'm all about the sexy. But what about joy? Let's bring joy back. And let's really start to connect to our joy. You know, because here's the thing, as you connect to your God self, as you connect to the Holy Spirit, as you connect to the source, the universe, you're going to be able to bring your joy back, because you can't be connected and not be joyful. It doesn't work. I don't care who says it does. I call bullshit on it. You have to be connected. You have to be joyful. You have to find your bliss. That's a card that I always pull. I pull it all the time. And it's follow what makes you happy. You know, follow what makes you happy. And as you begin to really connect with the source, with God, with the universe, and you begin to really discover the purpose that you have here on this planet, whatever it is, you know, because let me tell y'all a newsflash. Your job may not be your purpose. It may not be your purpose. Because I can tell you, I have been a nurse for 30 years, and I know that it is not my purpose. But it has been my job. I have done it for 30 years. Now, that was another limiting belief I released. I released it in December of last year. Because it's not my purpose. Definitely is not. And it was sucking and draining the life out of me. And so I had to make a decision, because I literally feel like it was killing me, because I felt so terrible. And every time I would go, the energy was so bad in the places where I worked, but most places. And it was just no joy and no peace. So I felt like I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do it. And so that was a limiting belief I had to release, because I had already gone part-time. So I was only working 2 or 3 days a week, and some months not that, you know, because I was going through so many different health problems and health crises and things. And I didn't realize at the time that so much of that was energetic, and so much of it I needed to release and get rid of. And so much of it was environmental, you know, so much of it is, you know, because of the comfort level that I have where I live, which is not. I thank God for it every day, but I'm ready to go. And I'm so grateful that that time is coming, that we are moving soon. So, anywho, I really just wanted to come on here and talk about limiting beliefs that we all have, that many of us have, that we all have. You know, we all have had or dealt with limiting beliefs. If you have healed yours, bless the Lord. Because I am working through mine now. And so as I'm working through, I'm coming on here and talking to you guys about it. Because here's the thing. I'm sharing things that I know, not things that I've read in a book. Many of them I've read in a book, but then I experienced. So there are things that I share because I know, because I've been there, because I've done that. Um, I love to talk to and share with the younger mothers because I understand that, because I was that. Let me see. I was 21 when I had my first baby, and I was 22 when I had the second one. And then I got another one a few years later, a bonus child by default. Thank God. He's such an amazing young man. I love him. Just turned 32 on yesterday. So I'm super, super excited, and grateful just to be able to be a person that can help. Because if anything, I know that it is difficult when you are a young mother, especially in the now generation. Because I know for me, I relied on my grandmother a lot when I had my kids. I relied on her a lot. Matter of fact, I would call her before I called the doctor. I call my grandma and see what I need to do for this child. And she would tell me if I needed to take him in. Because typically we didn't do that a lot in our family because we had a lot of nurses and they knew a lot of shit. And we had nurses that worked in all kinds of areas. Like my aunt was a pediatric nurse for decades. And so, if anything went down, I would call her and take my babies over there and stuff like that. And so, so anyway, in this day and age, a lot of young people don't have their grandmothers, or their grandmothers is way young, or their grandmothers wasn't trained by their grandmothers, all kinds of stuff, because certain things, grandmas just didn't let you do. Like when I had babies, you didn't go out. You didn't just be running around in the streets before 6 weeks. You didn't do it. Now, my grandma would say, you could go out, but the baby ain't going nowhere. And that, to me, that kept our babies safe. My babies didn't have to didn't deal with a lot of, no RSV or none of that other kind of crap because, nobody was around them while they were young and vulnerable, and I see people with their babies in the mall in 3 days or in a restaurant or something. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. But that's why they, get all these sicknesses and have all these problems and stuff because, they don't got grandmas, or they don't listen to their grandmas, or many of them, the grandmas are so young. I mean, you think about it, I've talked to women, they 35 and 36, and they grandmas, And so, a lot of them don't, if they didn't get guidance from their grandmother or from their mother, they don't have guidance for their children and their children's children, things like that. So that's a whole nother rant, but I just wanted to just talk about these limiting beliefs. And so I want to invite you to my workshop tomorrow at 3 p.m. time. It will be on Zoom. It is on Eventbrite. So you can go on Eventbrite. I will drop the link when I'm done. So if you want to go on Eventbrite and sign up, that would be amazing. I'm going to do this masterclass on the spiritual gifts. It's a workshop on the spiritual gifts. It's amazing. We're going to do it. It's going to be fire. I'm going to give some exercises and stuff on it. I actually have a PDF that I'm going to drop for those that would like to have that, with exercises that you can do to increase your intuition. And so also I have another workshop that's coming up that I'm going to do on how to use your intuition to read oracle cards. So I'm going to do a class on that. I haven't got the date yet, but I want you just to be aware that that class is coming, because that is something it felt like a natural progression for me, because I teach the spiritual gifts and I have been certified to teach that for a while now, and I've taught it a few times, and now I'm stepping into it, and I also am offering mentorships. So that is something that is coming down the pike. I'm working out the details now, so I will definitely be sharing and posting that as well, because that is something that is near and dear to my heart, to really just help people in their spiritual intuition development. Because as an intuition development spiritual coach, that is my jam. I absolutely love it. I love to see people when they get those aha moments and realize that they've been psychic all their lives. I'm just helping them to bring it out and showing them exercises to help them to increase it, because we all have it. We all have the gifts. Everybody can see auras. Everybody can see them. We just don't always recognize what we're looking at, what we're seeing. So that's something that I'm just grateful to be able to be here and be able to bring that forward for you. So join me tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific time, workshop on the spiritual gifts. So again, have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, weekend, whatever it is. Thank you so much for watching. Those of you that catch the replay, if you have any questions or anything that you would like to ask, you can drop them in the comments. I do try to come back and look at the comments periodically just to see if anybody has the notifications, to see if anybody has commented, if you have a question or if you have a comment, you know, whatever. I love that. And if you want to share even any of your limiting beliefs, that would be great, because I'm sure that that would help other people. Because what I know is that when you share, it helps other people. And sometimes that is the purpose of why we are here. Because a lot of times we think that it's all about us. But what I learned a long time ago, matter of fact, I learned it in my first marriage. A lot of things are not about me. They're about other people. I actually had a conversation with God about this one time. I said, Lord, why did I have to go through all these things that I went through in my life so young? Because y'all, I'm still young. And I went through a lot of stuff really young. Stuff that a lot of older women that I was around had not even been through, you know, and so I couldn't even really get any assistance with that at that time. Although there were some older women that had gone through some of the things that I did. But I was like, oh my God, you know. So one day I just had a meltdown, and I asked God, I said, why did I have to go through all of this at such a young age? Why me? And you know, the answer that I got surprised me. God said, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about my people and what they see when they look at you. You know, it's about my people and what they see when they look at you. You know? Because, you know, the Bible says, when you see Jesus, you see me. Because I'm a representative of the divine. So, that being said, thank you so much for hanging out, for joining me. I hope that you have gotten as much out of it that I intended to put into it. If not, like I said, you could always comment, reach out to me. You can reach out to me on Facebook Messenger. You can reach out to me on Instagram Messenger, which I don't do a lot of Instagram, so it might take me a while because I don't go on there often. And I have significantly decreased my screen time because I need to not be on these apps and this phone consistently. So I have significantly decreased that. So you can find me on you can find me here though on YouTube. You can comment. You can go on TikTok. You can find me. I have actually 2 pages on TikTok: Intuitive Tammy and Intuitive Guidance by Tammy. So you can go on either one of those and find me there. Trying to think, what else? Instagram. Oh, LinkedIn too, but I don't. You know, I do LinkedIn very rarely too. But the best place probably is either Facebook Messenger or TikTok. You can DM me on TikTok, either one. So that being said, thank you so much for hanging out, and look forward to all of the beautiful things that are coming up. Thank you, those of you that watch my podcast, Straight Outta Savannah, where I interview spiritual entrepreneurs. Look out for some amazing stuff that's coming, because I didn't realize I could turn it into a book, which is going to be amazing. So probably won't put all the episodes because there's a lot of episodes, but I'm going to put some of the ones that I really enjoyed, which that's going to be hard because I enjoyed most of them. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I appreciate all of your time, and I'm I'm in such gratitude just to be able to be on here sharing this beautifulness. And I know I just created that word, but you know, I can do that because I'm a creator. And so are you. So again, thank you for joining. Hope that your day is magical and that your week is lovely. And have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, week, whatever it is for you. Because I know YouTube lives forever. And it's everywhere. So have a wonderful one. Thank you so much. Bye now.